Enchanté de Leçon soit les habits. Les habits actually means habits. So, what habits are we going to talk about? Let's see. Let's begin the lesson with a dialogue. Sylvie says, Salut Marie, qu'est-ce que tu portes pour la soirée? So Sylvie is asking her friend Mary, what do you wear for the party? Mary replies by saying, Salut Sylvie, je porte une robe avec une belle écharpe. Et toi? So she says that I am wearing a dress with a very pretty scarf. And you? Sylvie then replies, Je choisis une jupe rouge avec une chemise blanche. J'aime la couleur rouge. So here she says that I have chosen a red skirt with a white shirt. And I love red color. So you see the small conversation between the girls. Right now they're discussing what they're wearing on a party. Let's continue. Super! D'abord, j'ai fini mes devoirs et puis je m'habille pour la soirée. Mary tells her that, okay, first of all, she would finish her homework and then get dressed for the party. Moi aussi, je termine mon travail. And that's what Sylvie says as well. Moi aussi, me too. Je termine mon travail. I will finish my work. And then what does finally Mary say? D'accord. À tout à l'heure. All right. See you on time. So in this entire dialogue, you see places where I have put some verbs in bold. Why have I done that? Before I teach you that, there's a small task for you that I have. Qu'est-ce que tu portes? What do you wear? Now, what you have to do is quickly go back to the previous slide or open your books, whatever seems comfortable for you, and find names of some clothing items from the dialogue. Let's take a short pause, quickly find the names of clothing because I am going to show you them right away. So these are the 4 clothing items we could find in the dialogue. Une robe, une écharpe, une jupe et une chemise. But do you know the vocabulary of other clothing items? No? So let's learn them. Like every time I teach you vocabulary, we will follow the same drill. You will first see the images, guess what it is, and then we'll do the pronunciation in French together. So the first 2 items of clothing on your screens. The first one is une chemise. Une chemise. The second one, un t-shirt. Un t-shirt. Puis il y en a un pantalon. Un pantalon. Quatrième, des jeans. Des jeans. Puis, une jupe. Une jupe. Une robe. Une robe. This is une écharpe. Une écharpe. This next one is un gilet. Un gilet. Puis il y en a un manteau. Un manteau. Et ça, des chaussettes. Des chaussettes. And a pair of gloves are des gants. Des gants. Très bien. I hope you were doing the pronunciations with me. Now, since we've learned the vocabulary as well, time to move to the grammar part of this lesson, which is les verbes. So in French, we all know there are three groups of verbs. Erending verbs, which we have very well discussed in Enchanté 1. Irending verbs, which we are going to discuss in this particular lesson. Et finalement, re-ending verbs, which will also be there in this book itself. So let's today first begin with a revision of er-ending verbs. So, how do we conjugate er-ending verbs? You remember there were 2 steps? Even if you don't, we are anyway revising them. Step 1. You cut er from the verb to get its radical. So whichever verb is given to you, you simply cut er from its end. And what do you get? You get the radical of the verb. But now इस radical का करना क्या है? इसी radical के end में हम endings को जोड़ते हैं subject के according हमारी verbs को conjugate करने के लिए. So let's look at how it's done in step 2. You add the following verb endings to the radical according to the subject. You see right here, with je, we add e to the radical. With tu, we add es. With il and l, again we add e. With nu, we add ons. With bu, ez. With ils else, we add ent. एक verb conjugated दिखाओ. Look at the verb parler. So step 1, I formed its radical, which is P-A-R-L, parle. Step 2, I added the verb endings to this radical and made the conjugation of the verb parler, as you can see right here on the screen. Parle, 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 parlant, parler, parle. Let's have a look at one more. Conjugaison d'aimer. So the verb aimer, the radical is aim. And then I add the following verb endings to conjugate the verb aimer. If you want to write it down or have a recap properly, pause the video, read it and relate it to the previous 2 steps that we just tested. And if you feel you're okay, you're comfortable, so let's move on with me. So here you'd see a list of a lot of er ending verbs. You remember in Enchanté 1, we did a very small list. Since it's level 2, the list is a little longer as well. So you can write these down whenever you get time and start learning these in English as well to enhance your vocabulary. So let's try a hand on an exercise quickly. So on screen you see a very quick question of conjugating er verbs. Pause the video, try doing it yourself, because in the next 5 seconds I'll display the answers on screen. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 and go. So tally your answers, see where you've made a mistake, if any, and if not, if you've got at least 60% of them right, give yourself a pat on the back because you're doing well. Very good. Let's now begin with IR ending verbs. So, step 1, you cut R from the verb to get its radical. ER के केस में हम क्या कर रहे थे? ER दोनों कट कर रहे थे. But IR verb के केस में you only cut R from the verb. As you see, finir, what did I do? I removed the R to get fini. Remplir, I removed the R to get rempli. Réussir, I again removed the R to get réussi. And what happens next? Step 2, add the following verb endings to the radical. जैसे ER verbs में कुछ verb endings थे, इसी तरह IR verbs में भी कुछ verb endings हैं जो हम subjects के हिसाब से लगाते. So you see, with je we use S. With tu also we use S. With il and L we add T to the radical. Now with nu we add double S ONS. With vu double S EZ. And else and else double S ENT. So you see what is happening? On the singular side, it is SST. That's how I tell my kids to remember it. SST. And on the plural side, you add double S to the verb endings of ER verbs. You remember ER verbs में ONS, EZ, ENT ही था. तो जब IR verbs हो उसी में double S लगा दो. अरे मैम क्यों कंफ्यूज कर रहे हो? सीधा सीधा बोलो ना इन्हें याद करने को. अरे तो जैसे कंफर्टेबल हो वैसे करो ना. मैंने तो बस अपनी तरफ से एक हिंट दे दिया. चलिए अब स्टेप सीख लिए तो कुछ वर्ब साथ में कॉन्जुगेट करें. पहला वर्ब वी विल डू फिनियर. The verb finir means to finish. So step 1, I removed R from the verb to get its radical. Step 2, I will add the verb endings as per the subjects. So you see the conjugation now? I've put in bold all the verb endings for your convenience. So with je, it became fini, tu, fini, il, fini, nous finissons, vous finissez, and ils finissent. All right? Let's try one more. The verb grossir. Now what happens when we conjugate verbs like this? Students get confused that ma'am इस verb में तो already double S है, तो इसकी conjugation में और double S आएंगे, इतने सारे S. तो मैं कहती हूँ हाँ बेटा इतने सारे S जरूर आएंगे. और शायद अभी सुन के आपको लग रहा होगा कि मैम कैसी बात कर, बट जब खुद लिख के देखोगे ना अक्सर बच्चे ये गलती करते हैं, इसीलिए मैंने सोचा आपको पहले ही बता दूं. चलिए स्टार्ट करें स्टेप बाय स्टेप. सो स्टेप 1, I remove R from the verb to get my radical, which is grossi, and then I add the verb endings as you can see in the table right here. With je, it became grossi, tu grossi, il grossi. You see the pronunciation staying almost the same. Nous grossissons, vous grossissez, ils grossissent. Okay, so try avoid making that common error which I have already told you about. So this is how kids you conjugate IR ending verbs. So before we move on to the practice exercise, let's look at the list of some common IR ending verbs. Here you go. Here you see a list of common IR ending verbs that you ought to learn. Alright? So now time to move to the exercise. So in the exercise you see again a lot of different subjects are here, and in bracket you have the verbs. Try to conjugate them as per the rules we have just learned. Pause the video because I am very quickly showing you the answers. Here you go. You can tally your answers, and if you feel you've done a good job, give yourself a pat on the back. Très bien. So before we end the lesson, let's have some more fun. We have done group 1 erending verbs, group 2 irending verbs. Now let's try one exercise of a question where both verbs are there. Let's see. Now you have different sentences, and in different sentences there are different verbs in brackets. Some are erending, some are irending. All you have have to do is just be a little careful while doing this exercise so that you do not confuse the verb endings of both the verbs. चलो चलो पॉज करो वीडियो, क्योंकि पता है अगले 5 सेकंड में क्या होने वाला है. मैम आंसर्स दिखाने वाली है एंड आंसर्स आपकी स्क्रीन पे ये रहे. सो आई होप यू वर एबल टू मैनेज. ज्यादा परेशान नहीं हुए, अपने आंसर्स को जल्दी से टैली करो, क्योंकि इसके साथ हमारा ये लेसन तो हो गया समाप्त. I will meet you in lesson 4 of Enchanté. Till then, au revoir.